Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we discuss day-to-day problems people face in their lives. Let's start with the video. This happened last night. My sister and her boyfriend recently moved to a town next to mine. I was excited as we'll be able to see more of each other now. Nearby, there is a downtown center that has a lot of shopping, restaurant, galleries, etc. There is one upscale restaurant that both my husband and I love. A dinner for two will run you about $200 to $250, so it's not a place we frequently go to. My sister called me last week and invited us out to dinner with them at the restaurant last night. I reminded her it was an upscale place and to take a look at the menu beforehand because they are pricey and we can go somewhere else, tons of other great places. She said she still wanted to go. We hadn't been there in a while, so we accepted. Dinner was great. At the end of the meal, my sister excuses herself to the bathroom, and when she doesn't come back relatively soon, her boyfriend goes to find her. After a while, neither of them comes back. We go to check for them, and they're gone. I call, text her, and she texts back that they've left, but thanks for dinner. It was just as amazing as you said it would be. I asked her what she meant, but no response. I texted again asking if she really just stuck us with the bill, and no response. I then texted that I never agreed to pay for them and that she has 30 minutes to come back to the restaurant or I'll give the restaurant all her information and they will likely involve the police. No response. At the 30-minute mark, I called, texted, and got no response. So I stayed true to my word. I paid for mine and my husband's portion and gave all her information to the manager for their portion and then left. The next day, she called me back upset that she's been getting calls from the restaurant asking her to come pay or they'll contact the police. I said I'm not surprised since she skipped out on her bill. She said she thought I was paying the tab since I've paid for our dinners in the past. I've paid for her plus me only dinners where the total tab was $60 max. I said this was obviously different than the other times we met for dinner. This was all four of us and at an upscale restaurant. And I was not paying the $450 tab, and she had to cover her portion. I reminded her that she invited us out and chose the restaurant. I specifically asked if she wanted to go somewhere else, but she is the one who insisted on going to this restaurant. I never agreed to pay for everyone. She then said she thought I just paid, but when I asked the waiter for separate checks, she realized I wasn't and left for the bathroom planning to ditch. I said that since the restaurant hadn't contacted the police yet, all she had to do was go in and pay and it would be settled. She didn't want to do that because it would be too embarrassing and asked me to cover it. I again said no and that she had to take care of it. Our family has gotten involved and I'm being pressured to just pay the bill. Am I the a-hole if I don't and let the restaurant call the police? Clearly, I will not be paying for anything ever again. Edit. Only answering a few questions as I'm seeing that I'm not the a-hole, and it's only been less than an hour. This event really made me feel like a piggy bank and not a sister, which is the most upsetting. We are in early mid-30s. She's never really been this terrible, but she has almost always found a way to bring my salary into conversations. For example, the first time I met her boyfriend, we were talking about cars as he just bought a brand new car. I said I'd like to get into a new car, but that I couldn't afford it right now. True, I'm a saver and not a spender. And her response was, you make XXX, you can definitely afford that car. This event really made me feel like a piggy bank and not a sister, which is the most upsetting. Not the a-hole. She admitted that when you asked for 2 checks, she decided to ditch you. She has to pay for her own meals. If she invited you to dinner and chose the restaurant, she should have known that obviously you weren't going to pay for her. She sounds really childish and the family has no business to pressure you into paying her bill. Not the a-hole. I know it's a cliche, but she played the stupid game and she won the stupid prize, and good for you for not being a doormat and just paying for her. She knew you weren't offering to pay or she wouldn't have skipped. This is all on her. Tell the family trying to get you to pay that they're more than welcome to contribute if they're so worried. Whether you end up paying for her or in the unlikely event that she finally ponies up and pays herself, she's just shattered your trust and that's very hard to come back from. Not the a-hole. You did 100% the right thing. She tried to take advantage of you and did not appear to give a single crap about literally using you for a fancy dinner. I hope the restaurant sends the cops after her. Sounds like she needs a little rude awakening. If your family is putting pressure, tell them they're welcome to pay her bill and that you won't be paying for anyone in the family anymore. Your money is your own, and if they're going to take advantage of your previous generosity, then they're going to find themselves on their aces from now on. I cannot believe your sister thought it was okay to literally dine and dash and stick her own sister with a $450 bill. That's seriously messed up. It doesn't matter if you make a higher salary than her. If she couldn't afford an expensive meal, she shouldn't have picked that place. This is not something you should just let go. Next story. My parents, 65 and 53, paid off everyone's, my siblings and their partners' student loan debts as a Christmas gift this year. I'm very aware of how privileged I am to have parents that were able to do this for me. My parents were able to help their 3 children, male 30, male 27, female 27, through college, so we collectively had little student loan debt compared to most. I think between the 3 of us, they paid around $80,000 and 2 of us have higher level degrees. My boyfriend is going through paramedic rookie school and they're paying for the half. The city he works in isn't paying. He's incredibly grateful and actually cried when he read the Christmas card. However, my older brother's fiance was actively rude and incredibly ungrateful about her gift. Keep in mind, her student loan debt, credit card debt is so high, it became a source of contention between my brother and her because once they get married, he will take on her debt. My parents have been aware and worried because right now my brother is in good financial standing. So they both gave my brother and his fiance the gift of not only paying off her student loan debt, she has a master's in education and $120,000 in student loan debt, but also her credit card debt as a Christmas early wedding gift. And probably about $250,000. Not to compare dollars, but my student loan debt was $25,000, and I was thrilled to not have to worry about that anymore. My brother's fiance couldn't even pretend to be grateful. She kind of gave a fake smile and then went off to the guest bedroom to literally cry about it. Not happy tears, but tears of disappointment. She made a massive scene and acted super sad and told my brother my parents were acting selfishly because they were worried about him and not what would make her happy, which apparently was a particular $3,000 handbag. She claimed she wasn't worried about her student loan debt because it will probably be forgiven anyways. I doubt that. And that my brother makes enough to pay off her credit card debt himself. He makes $80,000 by the way. She makes like $65,000. Not enough to comfortably get rid of over $100,000 worth of credit card debt that is rapidly growing. My parents were upset but kept quiet, but I had enough and loudly proclaimed while she was in the next room that she was an ungrateful little witch. Everyone got angry at me. My brother and his fiance left and my parents said I didn't need to escalate the situation, but I can't handle any more holidays with someone so entitled. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It's stunning how unaware your future sister-in-law is of the fact that your parents gave her $250,000. Never mind the fact that your brother should probably have second thoughts about marrying someone who carried $130,000 in credit card debt. Like, what in the actual F complaining about a $250,000 gift? Your parents should withdraw their gift and any future support because y'all know brother and future sister-in-law will come knocking for debt help when they realize their combined salaries won't make a dent in her credit card and student debt. Not the a-hole, but if I were your parents, I wouldn't be buying her any more gifts at all. Even if they do get married, she's ungrateful for no longer being in debt. I would have been elated at my parents being able to pay off my measly $25,000 debt when I started focusing on it, but I worked my ace off to pay my own debt. Your parents essentially gifted this chick a mid-sized starter home in my area. $250,000 is a ridiculous amount of debt that she thought she could afford. Student loans don't just get forgiven out of the blue, and you have to meet very specific criteria for that to happen. Why the F does she have $100,000 in credit card debt when she nearly makes half of that? Who the F gave her that large of a credit line? I'm sure your parents never would have let your brother say I do when she has that much debt, which is why they paid it off. She was a bankruptcy claim waiting to happen, and your brother would have had a shorty credit score because of her. Not the a-hole. She is an ungrateful bee. I honestly don't think your parents paying her debt was very smart of them. She isn't financially responsible and they just enabled her. Now instead of paying her debt, she'll go buy $3,000 handbags and pretty soon be in debt again. And what happens if she breaks it off with your brother? They just gave away all of the money for no reason. Also, your brother marrying someone who is financially irresponsible and so entitled is his problem. Your parents shouldn't bail them out. Next story. I, female 14, am the youngest of 8. My siblings are Eric, 34, Isabel, 30, Ashley, 27, Liza, 25, Kelly, 24, Sophia, 22, and Megan, 21. We all have the same dad, but I have a different mom than my siblings. I don't think I've ever met my bio mom though, and my stepmom adopted me when I was a baby. Megan has never liked me. She liked being the youngest in the family and getting all of the attention, and when I was born, I became the center of attention. I also have problems with my heart and lungs, which means I took even more attention from her. I've needed a lot of surgeries, and I've been in and out of the hospital over the past few months. I was getting a blood transfusion a few days ago, and Megan asked if she could visit. I didn't really want her to, but I didn't want to start an argument, so I said sure. Something that is kinda important is that I don't like pictures of me on social media. I have a feeding tube up my nose. They started me on a new medicine last year and it made parts of my skin change color and a lot of my hair fall out, and I just don't want people to see me like this. Megan also has a few thousand followers on her social media and posts everything. Isabel was also hanging out with me and is very protective over me, so I knew that if anything happened, she'd take care of it. We all hung out for like an hour, then I got tired and took a nap, and when I woke up, Megan was gone and Isabel seemed really upset. I asked what happened and she said that after I went to sleep, Megan started taking pictures and videos of me for her TikTok and Instagram. Isabella said she told Megan to delete them, and when Megan refused, she took Megan's phone so she could delete everything herself. Megan got mad at Isabella and Isabella said she said something horrible to her, but she won't tell me what she said. I trust Isabella and I knew she wouldn't lie to me, so I texted Megan to let her know that I don't want her to come to the hospital anymore because of what she said to Isabella and for trying to post pictures and videos of me. Megan called Isabella a lying witch and sent a ton of texts insulting her. Then she got really mad at me for believing Isabella over her, said I'm just like her, and said she can see why my real mom didn't want me. I sent the text to my parents and they said they'll take care of it. She posted a video on TikTok about how Isabella assaulted her, and the family banned her from seeing me, but isn't doing anything about Isabella. She posted a similar video on her YouTube and she seems really upset about it, so I wanted to know if I was the a-hole for banning her when I only know one side of the story. Not the a-hole. If you trust Isabella more, that's because she gave you more reason to trust her. Also, if you have this story wrong, wouldn't Megan have tried to at least tell you her side when you texted her? If my sister has a bad story about me, the first thing I would do is tell her the truth as I knew it. You listen to a person you trusted. Look at how Megan is reacting, posting everything, attacking you as well as Isabella, and getting an internet mob to defend her. She is clearly untrustworthy. I really hope that Isabella was able to permanently wipe all those files. You deserve to have privacy, dignity, and peace of mind. Not the a-hole. I would have banned Megan too. I have a BFF who, if she had told me the same story as Isabella, I would have trusted her word without talking to Megan either. My BFF is someone I've known for years and trust. Someone who has never lied to me and has shown me over and over again she's a good, kind person. Likely similar to how you feel about Isabella. As the others have said, tell the nurse hospital that Megan is banned from visiting you because she took unlawful pictures and videos of you in the hospital while you were sleeping and was going to post them on the internet. The hospital can alert security to stop Megan if she does try to come. You're not the a-hole in any of this. You being in the hospital at all and your medical conditions are all private information. And if your parents really wanted to push on it, Megan shouldn't be posting them because you are underage. It's okay that you like Isabella more. Megan is literally an adult using a child's illness for her own gain, which is disrespectful and cruel to you. Megan is totally wrong for that, and I completely would do the same thing if I were you. It's gross that she would exploit your suffering for her own gain. At this point, people are desperate for social media fame and numbers, and it's embarrassing. She needs to grow up. Next story. My female 25 girlfriend, female 30, does something I consider really rude, but I understand it is most likely a difference in our habits. Whenever someone calls when we go out, whether as a couple or to visit friends, she has to answer the phone and talk for, in my opinion, long periods of time. A few examples of this. We went to visit our friends, another couple, and an hour into our visit, her mom called and she went into their bedroom without asking to continue talking on the phone. After the first half hour, I thought something was wrong, so I got worried and went in to see if she was all right. She waved me away with a smile and continued talking. She spent at least another 45 minutes on the phone while I sat and chatted with our friends. I thought this was super awkward since she didn't ask, and also this was time we were supposed to spend with them. It started getting late and they were tired, but they were too polite to ask me to go get my girlfriend to leave to let them rest. Afterwards, I told my girlfriend, and she agreed to not do it again. I said it's fine to answer and just say she'll call back later, but having a full conversation in the middle of plans is rude. Again, she was at a family dinner and stepped away to answer a phone call from a friend. She went upstairs to the guest bedroom, and we could all hear her pacing down the hallway and laughing and talking loudly. This continued for 20 minutes before I texted her saying my siblings were leaving to go home. She read it and said, "Okay, I'll be down, just talking to Patty." And the pacing and talking continues. Half an hour later, she finally comes downstairs. I told her again that she should just say she'll call them back later when we're out or have plans unless it's an emergency. She called me a hard ace and said I'm being controlling and anal. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. That is generally considered to be rude by a lot of people, regardless of familial differences or different upbringings. If you're making plans to visit and spend time with friends or family, it should be treated the same as going to work. You don't take long-hour personal calls when you're at work. In essence, what she's doing is implying to those family members or friends that she considers whoever is calling her much more important than people in front of her, and that she does not respect their time at all. If it was an emergency, then that call would absolutely become the most important thing, and she should become entirely focused on that call, but that's not happening. Perhaps try to explain it to her by saying, "How would it make you feel if your friends came over to visit and they decided to spend all of their time on their phone to their mom, just chatting instead of spending that time with you like they promised?" You're not being rude or an a-hole asking her to be respectful, especially since you've already talked about it with her. At this point, she admitted that she wouldn't do it again, and then she proceeded to do it again. Communication is one of the most important things in a relationship, and you should feel 100% comfortable in being able to tell her when you think she's being rude or disrespectful, whether intentional or not. And if you're not comfortable doing that, or she's not able to take feedback or criticism from her partner, then that is something you guys absolutely need to work on. Not the a-hole. You're right in my opinion. It is rude to have a long chat on the phone in the middle of plans when you're out with other people. It's common courtesy to be like, "Hey, do you mind if I take this?" And or tell the other person who called you that you're out with your significant other or something. She's sending out the message that she'd rather be on the phone with her mom than be present in the situation she's in with you. It's miles more ruder than someone who's constantly texting or playing with their phone on dates because she's leaving the room and disappearing for the better part of an hour.